it's Kimberly from the Fat Quarter Shop, and Doug Lico from Antler Quilt Designs is here to show us a Jolly Bar friendly pattern called Dovetail. Tell me a little bit about your pattern that's designed for us.
Well, hi Kimberly. This quilt has just one block and it uses partial seams. I came up with a really easy and beginner-friendly way to make the partial seams, and we're going to show you that today.
And all you need are 3 Jolly Bars and 1 yard of background and a binding and backing. So let's get started. So show me this first step.
So what we're going to do is we are going to pair 2 rectangles together, and you're going to want good contrast between the two. And we're going to place them right sides together in the corner, and we're going to make sure their edges are lined up on both the sides. Then we're going to use the simple folded corner ruler, and we're going to place the first solid line on the left edge.
Which is right here.
Yep, on our rectangle. And you're going to be able to line up this rectangle as well as the top and as well as the sides. So you really almost can line up all 4 sides. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take and we're going to trim. That exposes our new sewing line. We're going to sew 1/4 inch from that edge, and you're going to have a unit that looks like this. Next, we're going to press, and it will tell you in the pattern which way to press. Then we will have your unit that looks like this.
Okay, and how many of these are we making?
We're going to make 30 of these units.
Okay.
The next one we're going to need to make is a partial seam unit. And for the partial seam unit, we are going to use a fabric A rectangle and a fabric C rectangle.
And the A is our background. That's going to be the center of the block.
Yes. And you're going to pair them right sides together. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to again line up the corner so it's nice and even. You're going to start stitching 1/4 inch from the top right. You're going to stitch about 2.5 inches down, and you're going to pivot. And when you pivot, you're going to put your needle in the down position and you're going to sew off. So you're really making a 90-degree corner. And that way your stitches are locked in. So you don't have to backstitch when you do the partial seam, and it looks a lot nicer and finishes a lot nicer.
And you would normally use like a brown, but today we're just using black so you can really see our stitches.
Yes. So once you get that sewn, you're going to press it, and you're going to press to the fabric C. And that you're going to make 15.
Okay.
After you have 15 of those made, you are going to use, we're going to use our first unit that we made, and we are going to attach that to the top. We're going to place it right sides together, and there's no more partial seams. Everything is all a complete seam.
And if you've never tried partial seams, this is a really good one to start because you've got nice big pieces, and you're not going to, if you do partial seams on a really tiny, that can be a nightmare, but this is super easy.
And this is very forgiving with the big pieces. So next we're going to stitch right across the top.
Okay.
And you can put a pin in there if you'd like.
Okay.
After you sew that, you're going to press up to your rectangle, and then we're going to add a rectangle to the side. We're going to add a fabric C square. So here's our fabric C rectangle, and this is another full seam. We're going to place it right sides together, and we're going to stitch right along this edge.
And you can see it's super easy.
Yep, we're going to press. You're going to have your unit that's going to look like this.
Okay.
And again, this is your partial seam. It's going to just be out there, but it's not going to get in your way because you locked it, and it's not going to pull apart.
Okay.
So the next one, what we're going to do is we're going to add another pieced unit to the bottom. So this was our first unit that we made, and you're going to put one on the bottom now. We put one at the top, and now we're putting one at the bottom. And you're going to want good contrast in your fabrics.
And you can see that
Mix
either
and
way
match.
you flip, the seam is still going the same way, so you don't
Yes.
have to think too much.
Yes. And when the contrast on the fabric, you just want to make sure you don't have any of the same fabric in a block, and then it will be really scrappy like the quilt behind us. So then you're going to put it right sides together, and you're going to stitch
1/4 inch seam.
1/4 inch seam allowance.
Okay.
And you're going to press to the rectangle unit.
Okay.
Now we're ready to close our partial seam. And it's just as easy as starting. We're going to fold it right sides together. And as you can tell, we're going to start at the bottom because you don't want to start in the middle and work your way out. You want to start at the bottom and work your way in. And once you get to the middle part, you're going to go past where you started.
And just overlap your previous stitches.
Overlap about 1/2 inch. You're going to pivot and again turn and sew off the edge. And once you do that, you're going to have your completed block.
So how do we put this together in a quilt?
So now that you have all 15 of your blocks done, you're going to sew 3 blocks into a row, and then you're going to make 5 rows. And then we're going to assemble each row together to complete your top.
Well, I love this quilt. Thanks for making this for us.
Well, thank you, Kimberly.
Yeah, and it's a great way to use the Jolly Bars, and of course, it's a great way to use Doug's brand new Simple Folded Corners ruler. We'll see you next time.